Welcome everybody to Metashift League Xenon Division. It is week number 1. These are the first matches for these teams, and I am very excited to be getting into this fresh new season of the league. My name is DJ, joined tonight by Shellytron, and we've got a very exciting match on our hands tonight, looking at Scuttlecock LLC going up against Peacemakers to kick off this season. We have had a couple of matches already, and we are going to get into a couple details about those as they did happen before this stream. But this is the first matchup between these two teams tonight, Shelly.
Yeah, so these two teams tonight have a lot of really good players with champ pools that are going to be highly and heavily contested. But before we get into this matchup tonight, let's speak a little bit on what happened a little bit earlier in the week. We saw just last night, we had Lotus Flower go up against Hostile, and that ended up in a 2-0 win for Lotus Flower. I saw a lot of very good things from them. Saint Alucard with his Twisted Fate going 11-0-12, does not get a single death. He was a part of 23 of the 28 total kills in the game, making some very timely roams. He was all over the map. It's a very, very strong mid laner for the team there, and we've seen the rise of Tristana. Tristana has become a complete monster on the Rift over the past couple weeks, and we saw Crisp 10 pilot her to perfection, 7-1-7 in the game with almost 4 full items, which is an absolute just destructive beast on the Rift. I think that this was just a kind of a, I don't want to call it a hard stomp, but it looked like Lotus White did a lot of really good work in that 2-1 victory over Hostile.
Yeah, Lotus White getting off to a very, very quick start. Super dominant 2 performances. You can see 26 kills in one. They had 28 in another compared to 10 and 6 for their opposition. So yeah, very, very convincing start for them in the season. A little less convincing for the side of Bucky's Atmosphere in their game, but they did come away with the 2-1 victory.
Yeah, so that was a three-game series we had with Bucky's Atmosphere and U Ottawa. I believe that was also played just last night, but that was another game where we saw some very strong mid lane play. I think Mr. Requiem looked really good in 2 of the games. On his Oriana, he actually had a complete, just a monstrous game, going 9-2-18, and then even on his where was it? His Anivio looked pretty decent as well, but he had some very good and solid games there. But we can't speak highly enough about Array on the Udyr, and is playing really great in the jungle in the 2 games that his team did win. It was the Udyr and the Kindred, 2 very different champions, but 2 champions that play very, very differently. So we like to see guys who have not just wide champ pools, but champ pools that don't have champs that do the same things. They don't want to have the same kind of win con or the same kind of fighting patterns or positioning kind of patterns. Maybe you can play a carry one game, you can play a tank in another one. You can play more of a sentinel kind of thing, more like an enchanter kind of, maybe like an Ivern type of a champion in another, where you can play different roles for your team in the same position. So you're a jungler who can do different things at different times depending on the team composition, and that's a very strong thing to have in any lane, honestly, because it allows you to open up the draft for some of your other laners, some of your other teammates, and I think that Array showed a lot of his versatility last night in that 2-1 win.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes on Array. I know personally that Array is the kind of player that is always going to have a massive influence on the game one way or another, particularly strong in the early game, loves to get some early ganks, some very creative pathing. So is a jungler who will have a lot of impact on his games in this league. But with those 2 games already under our belt, we are getting into tonight's matchup once again between Scuttlecock and the Peacemakers. And from what we can see, the Peacemakers had a very good season last season in the equivalent of this league. Scuttlecock has probably gone through a rebrand, so a little bit trickier to figure out what they will be bringing tonight. But what we do know is that it should be a very competitive matchup based on these players, champion pools and their current skill level.
Yeah, so looking at some guys with some champs that you may have seen a lot of, and some that you may not see very much either in solo queue or in, more organized competitive play. Starting off with guys like Cobra, the jungler for Scuttlecock. He plays a lot of Viego in a solo queue. Haven't gotten word back yet from the powers that be up top whether or not Viego is going to be enabled for this league, whether now or maybe in the future. He does have some, let's just call it less desirable features that happen sometimes with some interactions when you play with and against the champion. If you're playing with them, you love it. If you're playing against them, you got a couple things to say to the guy piloting that champion. But just to go on a little bit deeper, that banana bottle for the side of Peacemakers, the mid laner, does play some Ahri. Now, I have some very strong thoughts about Ahri. I have some very,
Uh,
very strong thoughts about Ahri. And I'm sure you do too,
fe-
DJ.
Maybe less strong than you do, Shellytron. Feel free to elaborate. I am kind of a fan of the champion
Oh,
and what's
oh,
being
then
done in the right in the right spot, but I would love to hear what you have to say about the champion.
Oh, I think there's always a better champ than Ari. If you're picking Ari, you're picking it because you play it a lot. You're never picking Ari because, this is the best fit for our composition. She's way too skill shot dependent. Yes, the charm is very strong. Electrocute Ari with the charm and the Q, it's really good. She has good chase down and even, I guess, disengage potential. But for a champion like Ari that needs to be on point with literally every single ability being a skill shot, it's a little bit hard because you have to play around the charm. If you can dodge the charm, then Ari's a little bit useless in a lot of team fights. Yes, the Q does, I believe it does true damage on its way back. Is that correct, DJ? I'm pretty sure that's true damage on the way back.
Yes,
So,
yes, it does.
yeah, so that's cool. That's a cool little feature for her kit. But honestly, the fact that there's always a better champion to play than Ari, in my opinion, and you can at least approximate the kind of damage and the kind of CC you can have with the charm with a few other champions that are available in the mid lane.
Yeah, that sort of has been the big criticism about Ari in the past. There is always a better AoE mage, there's always a better assassin, this or that, but we'll have to see if it can be piloted, if it is even selected. We have seen it cropping up in some high elo leagues around the world, people really liking the Everfrost on that champion. So we'll have to see if it comes out and see if it does tilt my man Shellytron here tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the draft come through very soon, but I do want to say that look, I have my opinions on Ahri, but I have casted games where Ahris have popped off. Even when I say that it wasn't the best pickup, they have done well. And like you said, that charm into Everfrost is a disgusting CC chain, and you're just stuck right there in the jowls of your opponent's composition. You're walking toward them, and they try to walk away, can't do it. You're like it's instantly stunned, locked in place. Ahri, piloted correctly, can do things very, very well. Now, I have to go ahead and correct myself. I said we'll be getting to the draft very, very soon, but we don't have all players in the lobby just yet. So we'll be having to fill a little bit more time here while we just look around these guys' champ pool. What are some things that you find interesting about these guys and their champ pools, DJ?
I'm looking at, I think where my eyes get drawn to a little bit is going to be in the jungle. For the side of Peacemakers here, they do have two AD carry players that are on their roster. So one of them will be playing in the jungle. That's going to be Nitrogen. Not a whole lot of recent champion history on some of these jungle champions. A little bit of Rek'Sai in there, but it will be interesting to me to see how he does pilot that. In the jungle, going up against what looks to be, a standard jungler in Cobra. Of course, Cobra does play a lot of Viego in the jungle. That champion, as we've heard in the chat, will not be enabled tonight. So no Viego available for him. He'll have to go to something else, but he does have a lot of games on Graves, a lot of games on Kayn, Skarner, Hecarim, all the meta champions that you would expect. So I am really going to be looking at the early pathing, at how Nitrogen plays around his team, plays around his lane, sort of what his decision making is tonight. Because again, based on the information we have from last season and the way that the Metashift League works, Peacemaker should be a pretty strong team, and it will be critical, of course, in a meta that is still so jungle focused, even after the nerfs, for their jungler to feel comfortable, to get out to an early lead, and try to have solid games. So I will be keeping an eye on Cobra versus Nitrogen.
Yeah, I think that usually, like you mentioned, a lot of these games do come down to how proactive and just how impactful the junglers can play for their team. If they're on the map early and often, a lot of times you see these guys come through with their pocket pick scaling junglers that really don't have a real gank until 6 or really aren't strong until, 8, 10 minutes into the game. But at that point, you've already gotten through potentially giving up 2 different objectives and a lot of pressure in lanes that can give you priority for getting the scuttle crabs, which can help you against or maybe even discourage some of these ganks from the opposing teams or even some roams potentially. So I always think that the more aggressive, not more aggressive, but the more proactive and the more on the map jungler is usually the one that wins or gets his team in a position to be ahead in the mid to late game and get them in a better spot. But we are already into the ban phase for this game between Scuttlecock and Peacemakers. And very first off, we see the Seraphine. A blue side ban for Scuttlecock. They say we don't want to see it in our game. Usually a red side ban, but they say, look, Seraphine, you just cannot get in our game. She's one of the most annoying champs in the game. If you don't play her, I play a bit of Seraphine myself. She is extremely terrible to go up against just because she's you know how Seraphine works. And the band flashed on screen, and it was a Thresh band. It's one of the S tier supports in the game right now. Really strong with Jinx and Aphelios there. So Peacemakers don't want to see Scuttlecock and Glow on a strong ADC that pairs well with Thresh, and you get Thresh out of the way yourself. It's a good game.
Yeah, as you mentioned, the Thresh, a bit of an Aphelios enabler, although we haven't seen a lot of Aphelios in the meta recently, has been replaced by these dangerous flex picks, the likes of Tristana. Kai'Sa's still around. You got Xayah coming back in as an answer to some of these champions. So I've not quite seen a whole lot of him. Nevertheless, that Thresh still going to be banned away. It is a strong support in its own right with a lot of immobile AD carries. Gnar taken away by Peacemakers as well. We see Scuttlecock going to round it out. 3 AP champions taken off the board. The Seraphine, the Lilia, the Diana. Diana is a favorite of Banana Bottle, so not super surprised to see this one taken away. But there's the Echo ban, and of course, the Hecarim that has been everywhere around the globe going to be selected B1.
Yeah, this Hecarim pick is a great one, especially since the side of Peacemakers didn't really ban out any junglers at all. So we're looking at Cobra getting his fill of whatever he wanted to pick. Like you mentioned, he does play some Graves, some Kayn, even some Skarner, but the Ghost Horse is a very, very strong one, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Peacemakers. There's only really one strong AP jungler that you really want to go for here, so I doubt we're going to see an AP jungler come out for the side of Nitrogen. He does play some Mundo and some Graves as well, but we do see the Nautilus and Kai'Sa lock in for the Peacemakers, so we are going to see how their bot lane is going to look, and we're going to see, this is a pretty strong bot lane here for the side of Darkfire and Revolved. I actually do like this a lot. You don't really see Nautilus too much in competitive so much recently, but he is still up there as far as tier lists and supports.
Okay, and I really like the way the draft is going here, Shelly. Some very clever stuff coming out from both of the teams. Lilia was banned away by Scuttlecock. That is sort of a common counter pick into the Hecarim priority. The Kai'Sa also is something that's usually paired with Hecarim to jump on in after Hecarim dives into the back line. So Peacemakers smartly take that away with the Nautilus Kai'Sa bottom lane, and Scuttlecock comes right back and says, we're going to get the range advantage. We're going to have the 2v2 advantage, and they're going to go Jhin Leona into this bottom lane.
Yeah, Jhin Leona is a disgustingly long. You have long range. You have great engage. You have some really strong CC chain you can do there. Now, Jhin, I'm not really a big fan of Jhin. I think he takes a little bit too long to ramp up, and he needs to be ahead. Not exactly like a Caitlyn who needs to be ahead and get plates to be a champion in the mid lane or in the mid game. But Jhin is one of those champs that was extremely meta and then found his way in the fringes, and now it's more so like, okay, like tier 2, tier 3 for ADCs, but Jhin Leona is still a very strong lane, especially going into this Nautilus Kai'Sa that wants to get into you. But with the Olaf locked in, I'm looking at Scuttlecock maybe trying to get rid of these AP champions, making sure that you don't get all that great damage profile in one of these solo lanes. Now it's only going to be Cho'Gath and Mordekaiser, which means it's going to open up this Orianna pick in the mid lane, one of the most popular control mages, and one of the more meta picks here for Banana Bottle. So Orianna is going to be a strong 2v2 with the Olaf, has some really great synergy there, and it's really great for the as a ball carrier. You pop Ragnarok, you have Command Protect on top of you, you get a really good Shockwave, and Kai'Sa Nautilus follow up, and it's going to be a really good wombo combo for the Peacemakers.
Yeah, big fan of the Orianna on R4. It's a very safe blind pick mid laner that does pair well with your team. You've got the Olaf that the ball can go on top of, the Kai'Sa to dive in. The Syndra is a classic counter pick into the Orianna. You do have a little bit of extra range with your Q poke at the beginning of the game. Those Dark Spheres can really hurt, and that should give you priority in the middle lane. The Shen comes in B5. We'll see what the counter pick is here. It is available for Peacemakers. They can pick Eureka, whatever this man desires, and it's gonna be the Malphite. Oh my word. And you better be buying Gale Force, Jin, otherwise this is gonna be a rough time.
I was thinking Malphite when I was talking about how we were Scuttlecock was banning out all these AP top laners and how you wanted to have, more of a front line and having someone who can actually carry the ball as well. This gives you a really good front to back. This gives you a very good dive composition where you have the Malphite Brink going in, you have the Olaf going in, and that gives Kai'Sa to all the chances she needs to follow up on that as well. Really great engage. But seeing Just Phil on this Shin lets me know, look, there's also a pretty decent dive comp here for Scuttlecock. I don't think to the same degree, but when you have a Leona and a Hecarim and then a Shin that can help you out once you get to the meat of that composition for Peacemakers, you have a good little taunt that comes out. You can really make a good wombo combo yourself. And like I always say when I see a Shin being picked, there is no such thing as a fair fight. That Stand United can turn any 2v2 in the bot lane into a 2v4 if your jungler's just waiting there right outside the brush in the river, and you get ulted on by Shin. Now you have nothing going for you. You're just stuck there. 1v1s in the mid lane can become 2v1s, and a quick little taunt there in the mid lane can be the difference between life and death, and that can turn and get you guys a good objective, whether it be a Herald or a Dragon. Shin is a very, very strong and pivotal champion in a lot of compositions, and with a Hecarim there, you go ahead and you bring those Spectral Riders, you bring all of them around you, and you bring Shin over the top, you get that shield, you already have a Fear on top, and he's going to be in there. It's going to be so much CC lock there. I think Scuttlecock has a very good composition to execute against Peacemakers, but I still do believe that Peacemakers has a much more straightforward and easier to execute composition. The Malphite with a Nautilus and a Olaf, you can really do a lot with this front to back or just diving in. I really do think that this is a better composition here. Now Olaf has had himself and his kit nerfed over the past couple patches, so we'll have to see just how well Nitrogen can pilot this champion, but overall I still do favor what Peacemaker has gone ahead and gone through in this draft over Scuttlecock.
Yeah, I do like both drafts, as you mentioned. I think, sometimes we see this is a pretty standard draft from both teams, but your standard is typically pretty good because these are comps that are strong, that have mixed damage, that are fairly easy to execute typically. And I do think they have been very clever in the draft. You mentioned the Caitlyn earlier is something that has been kind of a counter pick into Kai'Sa, makes the lane very difficult, but Caitlyn can be a little tricky to operate in fights, requires some more resources, some more protection. Jhin gets some movement speed from the Gale Force, can kind of move around with his own passive, and does allow for a little more safety when you are diving in, because he can just bring that ulti over the top, provide some extra damage, stay a little safer. And it is, of course, a huge comfort pick for Glow. This is his main in solo queue and in most of his games. So we'll be piloting this one with a good degree of comfort. And we'll have to see if that comfort is what allows Scuttlecock to overcome what, again, is a very fearsome comp here from Peacemakers. Super classic. You got the Nautilus ulti for Kai'Sa proc. You got the Malphite ulti. You got Orianna with the ball over the top. It is a really, really strong composition. But I mentioned it before the draft, and I have to say, my eyes are still there after looking at this, Shelly, because Olaf and Hecarim, two champions that need damage, that need those items, that need some sort of tempo or to be ahead to be very, very effective, because they got to dive in on you. They got to dive into your whole composition to make their kits work effectively. So my eyes are really going to be on Cobra and Nitrogen in this early game to see how they can play with their team to try to get tempo, to try to get an early lead, and to try to be a true threat coming out of the jungle.
Yeah, that's one quick point before we go ahead and get to our spectator delay for integrity here. I just want to go ahead and mention that Hecarim now does build tank. You've been seeing a lot more of the Chem tank builds and not so much of the Sunderer or Trinity Force into Sterix Gauge. We've been seeing him say, okay, let me just go ahead and build for my passive build only speed. You see the Chem tank into Dead Man's Plate, into Force of Nature. So he will have a lot of staying power in these fights while he's diving in. Now, he won't have as much damage, but as long as you are a good tank for what your Syndra and Jin want to do, and even Shin can be one of those guys who's up there with you, as long as you're denying this Kaisa, and maybe even the Orion to a certain degree of hitting your backline, maybe Glow on this Jin can make things happen. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I'm not the biggest fan of Jin, but if Jin is able to get accelerated early in the game by his jungler, then he can have a huge impact on the mid to late game by himself as well.
Certainly can, but we'll have to find out if he can make that happen, as we are going to throw it to our spectator delay break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game one between Scuttlecock, LLC, and Peacemakers right after this. division. We have got Scuttlecock loading in on the blue side. We've got Peacemakers loading in on red side. We're just coming out of a very solid draft from both teams. So very proud of all of the great draft adaptations, and I am so excited to see how these two teams do play out. But Shelly, I'm going to ask you, hold on here. We'll have to wait here. There might be a full 5-man. It's going to happen. They're going to face check. Here we go. Taunt coming down. It's a 4-man taunt from the Shen, but the first blood already going to go over to Eureka. Falling now is Cobra. Everybody's dying. It's a 2-for-1 already in favor of Peacemakers. They're trying to get more. Reserved is running away. The axe is slowing everyone. But finally, looks like the fighting will break off. It does end in a 2-for-1 in favor of Peacemakers, with first blood going over to Eureka.
These two teams definitely did the scouting on each other. One team is trying to invade from bot lane. The other team is in their own tri-brush bot, just waiting on the invade right there. No one else anywhere else. I mean, what if the side of Peacemakers decided to go and invade from top? They want to go for blue. What would have happened then? But we did see a 2-for-1. Both Eureka and Banana Bottle getting that extra. Well, one gets 400, the other gets 300 gold, but that's going to be a very, very tough lane for Meals on this Syndra, and not so much tough for Just Phil on Shen. It is still Shen. You get double Dorans on Eureka. That's just fine. But those boots for Banana Bottle on this Orianna is going to be very great for dodging out these orbs very early in the game. That's one of the biggest things about laying against Syndra early on. You don't have the speed to get away from the orbs, as Banana Bottle right there didn't have the speed, but you'll have a little bit more escapability, or just ability to get away from those orbs with those extra boots early on. You get just a chance to get to your boots even quicker if you want to go for the Merc Treads. But as we see, just pretty even lane state and across all lanes. Looks like both junglers did start at their bot side jungles, pathing up top.
Yeah, pretty standard start from the junglers. So, I was going to ask you before all those shenanigans level 1, Shelly, what are the win conditions for these teams? What are you looking for them to do in the early game to get themselves in a winning position? And has that opinion changed now after that chaotic level 1?
Well, since I don't think I actually said it in so many words, but I did predict that the Peacemakers had a better draft and would probably have a better chance in this game. I would have said I would have probably wanted to see Nitrogen to go a little bit less than what's normal and start at his red side and path downwards to get something quick going on there against Glow and Reserve for you and make a move. But Cobra on the hunt.
Cobra gonna speed up, not gonna get the E right there. Did not quite get behind Eureka, and that is a failed gank attempt in top lane. The devastating charge, not very effective this time around, and now Eureka just gonna be able to continue to pressure the lane.
Yeah, good pressure here, and now it looks like Cobra got pushed off the Scuttle Crab. So he's looking at the Scuttlecock jungler getting pushed off the Scuttle Crab, and it looks to me like he's already going back in his jungle. He might get double crabbed here, and if he does go for this bot side crab, look at all the vision that we've already seen from the bot lane of Peacemakers put down. There's one right outside the pixel brush and one in this tri brush here as hold up.
We got a 2v2 in mid lane. Cobra getting some good damage down on a Nitrogen, trying to get the axes out. Level 4 to the level 3 mid laner, but they will pick up the first kill. Now both junglers have fallen. It's just the 2 mid laners. The red buff, though, is on Syndra, which would guarantee that win. So now Banana Bottle going to have to deal with this buffed up Syndra as they were moving down to contest that bot scuttle. But you can see priority actually in favor of Peacemakers here, despite the extra range on the Jhin. They are there first, and they're actually going to help their jungler pick up that second Scuttle Crab.
Yep, so a double scuttle. One the jungler picks up, the other one the bot lane says don't worry about it. Nitrogen will come in and do what we got to do here, and that's really great teamwork there. We do see the Iron Spike Whip already come out for Nitrogen, as opposed to just getting these boots of lucidity. That CD, or that haste now that it's called, for this Hecarim is very, very strong. And we've been seeing these haste boots come out for a lot of different champions that normally would not have gone for it. It's just so efficient, it's so cheap, and it does so much good work for you, especially that it gives you hold up.
Yeah, we got some fighting as Cobra has just been everywhere, but meanwhile, just Phil's in some trouble. Shield gonna come out. It might not be enough. Gotta flash away, but the Q's gonna follow. no, and that's going to be a solo kill for Eureka. Oh, that's such a feels bad. The fadeaway seismic shard. Cool guys don't look at explosions, but just Phil has to feel the brunt of it.
What's even worse, the worst feeling, it's not dying in a solo lane, getting solo killed. What's worse is when you blow your flash to do it. Hold up, though.
Yeah, Revolved in some trouble. Does have flash, and no, there it is. The rest of the reinforcements coming from the Drake that was just taken. So the bottom lane of Scuttlecock here will just back off, will allow Revolve to stay alive, and he has enough health to stick in the lane, try to heal up through these runes. Of course, is that Halo Blades Kaisa, so a lot of healing from the Ravenous Hunter, from the Taste of Blood. Will be second best in this lane for a little bit of time, but they will be very happy knowing they've gotten the extra kills. They've got a pretty substantial lead, 1K already at 6 minutes, and they have that early Ocean Drake.
Yeah, so you're going to be seeing Peacemakers with a pretty decent advantage for the early game. 4 kills to 2 on this Malphite. I mean, look at his inventory. 2 Doran's rings, 2 Ruby crystals, and 2 claws, looking like Noah's Ark over there. Just getting a pair of everything so the other one does not feel too lonely, as Revolved and Dark Fire try to eat up this very, very chunky minion wave, as the side of Scuttlecock, Glow, and Reserve for You do back off. Now, sometimes I like to think about these with no dragon up. You could decide to freeze the wave, but if you're involved in this Kaisa, you probably want to back at some point because you have 57 CS. You want to go ahead and get that Dirk. You want to try to get that Q evolve as soon as you can. Yeah, right here, gonna shove. It might actually crash. Let's see.
Oh, level 6s are in. This could be trouble for Meals. Doesn't get the flash right. Gonna get taunted up. Shen ulti coming down. Great scout of the week, stuns up 2, and now it's a full 3v3. In the front line is Eureka. They're trying to get just Phil low. Cobra doesn't have an ulti. Look at the health bars. Nitrogen going to fall to the unleashed power. And a great turnaround from the side of Scuttlecock.
Yeah, Nitrogen, who's had a good game so far, just falls to the biggest skill shot in the entire game. Mills presses that button and gets a kill. 2-0-1 on this Syndra, where his team was kind of behind early on. If you let Syndra get ahead, it's going to be a very, very tough game because all that CC and just having that unleashed power is one of the most obnoxious ultimates in the game. Not so much obnoxious, but it's guaranteed to hit, and it will hit like a truck regardless. So that was a very good engage there. We see Just Phil using the Stand United to get to the mid lane, and I thought that was going to be the advantage of Peacemakers, but Syndra, you cannot sleep on the kind of power that she does have, even this early in the game, as we do see the gold even back up. It was a 1K gold lead for Peacemakers, but just about even again, and we do see Revolve go back, get the double long swords with the Dirk. Rift Herald is on the map, but since there's no prio in the top lane, Eureka's under tower, and Banana Bottle with no TP, just backed to get Lost Chapter, we will not be seeing Nitrogen make a move for that just yet.
Yeah, not just yet, but that was a big turnaround in mid lane, Shelly, because they were kind of slipping away from this early game on the side of Scuttlecock. You know, their jungler was 7 CS behind, trailing towards 3 camps. Really, Meals was the only member of the team that had been having a decent game after the chaotic level 1 and did manage to turn that one around with the unleashed power. That's allowed the CS to even up in the jungle. It's gotten Cobra to level 6, and now looking at a much more even state in this game as Eureka and Just Phil still trading on top side. Lane gank was set up there on the bottom side, but Cobra just did decide to back as his entire top side of camps has come up. You can see a nice freeze has been established here by the Peacemakers bottom lane.
Yeah, this is going to be really hard to go ahead and break without some jungle intervention here. So I want to see just what happens here. Maybe Nitrogen will make a move after clearing this Gromp out, but we do already see that Cobra's been spotted out on this Scuttle Crab as potentially making a move for the Herald, but he's off vision now, just sitting there in this Pixel Brush, as we do see the freeze gets broken, but Nitrogen is on a ward, sitting there, going to go ahead and leave the lane, and probably establish some vision and make a move for this dragon soon.
Oh, yeah, but the first move being made by Cobra. Lovely combination of abilities. Still not dead as Banana. Will Meals fall? No! Meals is going to stay alive, and it's a great combination between the mid-jungle. That charge was perfect. The fear setting up the stun into the unleashed power, and despite Banana Bottle's best efforts, could not get the return kill after using the shockwave.
Yeah, and we're seeing Meals. The team, look, the team was falling around you in the early part of the game, but 3-0-1 already on this Syndra. And you've already got 2 kills in the mid lane on your, well, a kill on the mid laner and a kill on the jungler, but you're just already extremely strong on this Syndra. Very great gank from Cobra, which actually doesn't turn into anything as far as objectives are concerned, but while Cobra is behind in CS, he has been a little bit more proactive on the map, has been a little bit more effective, and helping his teammates get ahead in their lanes, especially Mills in particular. But we are seeing some posturing perhaps for this dragon. The bot lane of Peacemakers have already moved up, maybe to establish some vision or to sit right here in this brush. But while that's happening, Nitrogen is just going ahead and clearing out his wolves, so we won't see anything happen just yet.
TP going to be expended here by Just Phil on the top side. Does still have the Stand United available, of course, that extra global. Always in the back pocket of the Shen, but everything really available for both sides as they are posturing around this Drake. Bit of normalcy resuming, but they want to make a play down here. Here's Cobra. Ulti going to come out. Shen is in here too. Going to need to flash over the wall. That's a great ulti from the Kaisa, but Shen's going to follow. They'll pick up Revolve. The second kill certain to drop its glow. Picking it up with the 4th shot on the curtain call, and that is a beautiful play on this bottom side for Scuttlecock to guarantee this Drake.
Yeah, and that was just so strange for Revolved and Darkfire. First of all, playing so far up in the river with the wave push, and then still staying kind of far up after coming back down to the bot lane. It just felt like you understood that Nitrogen was already backing. He was in the base at Fountain when that double kill went down. So they understood that there was never going to be a take for Dragon in the next at least 30 seconds. So why are they playing so far pushed up with their jungler nowhere near the vicinity, and there was no vision on Cobra? We had no idea where he was on the map. That seemed like an outplay due to mispositioning there. While Nitrogen does clear a ward here in the Pixel Brush that Cobra put down himself earlier. But that was just an objective given over by the side of Peacemakers just by staying a little bit too far up in the bot lane. But we do still have Rift Herald on the map. It probably won't be a very effective one since we have just 1 more minute before plates fall and it hasn't been touched yet. It most likely won't be touched before the 14-minute mark, but there is Prio in this top lane. Eureka's moving down as we do see Cobra in the vicinity.
Yeah, we do see Cobra up there on the top side. It was a bit of a greedy path from Revolved and Darkfire to run through the river instead of back around all of these walls. Nevertheless, it was an excellent play from Scuttlecock, who now do find themselves in a 1K gold lead as both junglers are here in top side. Nitrogen going to make his first move in a while, but already countered. In comes the Onslaught of Shadows. Will knock one back. Teleport coming in. They're going to turn this one around. They're trying to get Just Phil. They'll pick up 1. In comes the mid laners. Meals has already thrown out the Unleashed Power. They get 2, and flashing away is Nitrogen. It's a double kill for the Olaf, and a lovely turnaround from the side of Peacemakers. And Meals, you better... the turn shot. Okay.
Whoa.
Shut down. Meanwhile, we got fighting in bot lane. Glow is just getting blown up here in this fight. And I don't think Reserved is going to get away. Flash root. The Q is going to come off cooldown as well. 1 more proc of the passive. It's all it's going to take. Knocking up Reserved. Will they be able to kill him? Last auto will get it done. 2 kills in the bottom lane for 3 kills in the top lane. I believe that's an ace in the extended play for the likes of Peacemakers.
Yep, the long-term ace there for the side of Peacemakers, getting all 5 members down. That was just a very, very great heads-up play. 2 teleports from the mid lane to go up top, and a gank that happened, initiated by Nitrogen, but Cobra was right there to try to attempt the counter gank, but he himself got caught up in all the madness, and I really did believe that there was a chance that Mills was going to be able to turn it around and get that kill onto Banana Bottle. Had him CC'd up in turret range, but Banana Bottle got the last hit and just got out of turret aggro. That was an extremely, extremely important hold up.
Oh, they want to engage here, but there's an extra TP on the side of Peacemakers. The turret has also fallen In comes Eureka, but doesn't really have a lot. I don't think the ulti's off cooldown yet. It's not. Banana Bottle showing up as Revolve flashes away from the Leona ulti. Still a lot of damage going down. Banana Bottle the second to fall, and now the full retreat has been sounded. They are piling in, and Meal's going to pick up one. It's going to be just Phil to pick up the last one. It's a 4-for-0 over to the side of Scuttlecock, and we're just seeing this game go back and forth right now, Shelly.
Yeah, this is a game of tennis right now. Both these teams trading away very strong advantages. We saw Peacemakers make the very first move before minions even spawned. We saw Scuttlecock come through with a very great, I think it was a 3-for-1 in the bot side river. No, it was a double kill actually in the bot side river for Dragon, the top side engage. And then just this one we just saw on our screen. These two teams are unrelenting. I want to say pretty evenly matched, even though I do believe that Peacemakers had the better composition. Meals on this Syndra, 4-1-2, already about 2/3 of the way done with this tier stacking, has the Ludens already in the back pocket as well. Gonna be a huge menace for the side of Peacemakers moving forward. She's just so strong, and yes, Nitrogen is able to get away from the Scout of the Week with his Ragnarok, but you can't find yourself impervious to that unleashed power, and he has died to that twice now of his 3 deaths. Now he was able to go ahead and pick up that Rift Herald, and with the tier 1 turret bot lane already down, I want to see him try to unlock this Orianna and get a longer lane mid, because we do see this dragon coming up in the next 20 seconds. So you want to probably find some priority there, make Scuttlecock have to answer that, and then go for this next dragon, which is going to be Mountain. This is going to be a Mountain Rift.
Yeah, we're going to be thrown in there. We'll spot out Nitrogen. Everybody already hovering around this third Drake. It is that Mountain Drake, the Mountain Rift here. Maybe not the favorite for Cobra with all the extra walls to navigate. Nitrogen going to pop the Rift Herald in mid lane to try to serve as a distraction, and it looks like the side of Scuttlecock just completely disinterested, so that will get the full charge off in mid lane as both these teams now in their full 5-man sets around the Drake. All the ultis available for all 10 of these champions as the Drake is started up by Nitrogen. Multiple flashes also available. The only significant one that is down, the one on Glow and the one on Revolve. Curtain Call going to be popped as the engage is coming in. Ragnarok is also out. Double engage in the backline, but the fight is so split up. The jungler will fall, but there's 2 members falling for the likes of Scuttlecock. Now going back in, Eureka doesn't have the ulti, but he can still slow Glow down. Trying to use that passive, but Banana Bottle will finish him off, and there's no turret. Chase will ensue. Instead, it will be called off. They will fall back towards the Drake with both junglers dead. It's supposedly a 50-50, but the health bar is just way too low for Scuttlecock to stick around. This one will go over to the side of Peacemakers.
Yeah, no smite, but just way bigger health bars for the side of Peacemakers. They have an actual front line as well, so they're going to be looking really good. Look, I like that engage from Cobra, using the Blast Cone to go ahead and use the Onslaught of Shadows, to use the E to bring them back in, but there was really no help over the top. I believe Just Phil did use Stand United on them, but they both got blown up fairly quickly, and with your Shin and Hecarim down, all you have is Mills, Glow, and Reserved, and they're not going to be a really good front line against the composition that Peacemakers has. And what you do there is you posture for Dragon, you give up a lot of health on your mid lane turret. It didn't go down, which is actually a very big win for them, because it would have been even worse if you lost Dragon and you lost your mid lane turret there as well. But you are allowing the side of Peacemakers to catch up and become an actual threat to Mills on this Syndra. Glow, like I mentioned earlier, as a Jhin, you either get ahead or you're a walking ward. That ultimate, the Curtain Call, just did not do much of anything at all. It tickled, if that. And even though he had the Gale Force and Dirk, he's just not a very strong member of the team. Tried to get a 4th shot on, I believe it was Banana Bottle, after he already knew that he was going to die to Eureka. Wasn't able to get anything there. Even the 4th shot wasn't very powerful for him. So I want to see a little bit more out of this Jhin, maybe some more better peel and not just straight diving, because you're allowing the other members of Peacemakers to get down on your Jhin, and while he's not doing any damage, he doesn't take very much damage to get him down and killed as well, so there's even less damage potential for the side of Scuttlecock. Their team fight potential is strong if you have a lot of CC, but once that CC is over, there's not a lot of sustained damage for their team.
Yeah, and we do have that second Rift, or excuse me, the Baron about to spawn a little bit too early for either of these teams to do so. But want to take a chance with this lull in the game here to take a look across at the itemization that Chem Tank is in there for the Hecarim, so we do see the Tank Hecarim coming out. The one of the interesting ones we see coming in is the Stride Breaker here for the Olaf, and that is fairly new again. This one has been updated. It's more of a dash and less of a slash now than it used to be, but that's something we haven't really seen taken on Olaf. Usually goes for the Gore Drinker even after its nerfs, and it has done some good for Nitrogen, who's been pretty effective in these fights. We saw him get that double kill in top lane, and then did a lot of work to split up that fight around the Drake. He did fall for his efforts, but his team was able to clean up the fights. So it is an interesting itemization choice. I'm going to have to keep my eyes on it as the game goes on to see how effective it is. What do you think of the decisions made in some of these itemization builds here, Shelly?
Well, let's start off with Nitrogen in the jungle. I actually do like this this Stride Breaker. Now, like you mentioned, it has been updated. It got what I believe to be a buff. Now, on Olaf, he already has a lot of speed. He can get down on you. But I actually want to see, like you said, I want to see how this works. I think it makes more sense than the Gore Drinker. This noticing how just nerfed that's been. I think he wants to try out different things here on this Olaf. And I think the Stride Breaker can work. It works on a lot of other bruisers and fighters to perfection. It's made a lot of these other champions in the top lane it's extremely just obnoxious. So I think the Stride Breaker can work for this Olaf, and it gives you a little bit more power to get into the bowels and the jowls of the Scuttlecock, the team comp. You can be one of the ball carriers. You probably want Eureka to do that, but I think as follow up, you can't do too wrong with Olaf, and it's a little bit more damage as well. Not a ton, but it's a little bit more damage on top of what he already does, and the speed at which he does it when he gets lower. I think I already called the Chem Tank on Hecarim, as you do see these two top laners slapping each other. Don't expect too much here, as Reserve for You just makes his presence known really quickly. But the Chem Tank makes sense to me. Gale Force on the Jhin, you called that one as well. You want to be able to be a little bit more mobile. Everything else seems to be stock and standard.
Hello, Mr. Revolve. That is not the champion you want to be messing with, and you just got blown up. And now it's, oh no, did they fumble that? I think Darkfire's still going to die here.
Wait.
Yeah, ulti coming out. That should be a kill. Meanwhile, Eureka is doing a top lane. He's going to get the kill onto Just Phil. So a solo kill for the Malphite. Does flash away potentially a little unnecessarily at the end of that one. But with the double kill on the enemy bottom lane, maybe some hints that the Baron is going to be started here. And yeah, looks like Cobra going to commit to it. Yeah, I was going to say, this would look pretty risky to me. The ping's going to come out to just push for mid lane turret. Probably the wise decision there. And another nice pick from Meals, who has been just on fire in this game. 5-1-4 on this Syndra, picking out the enemy AD carry, going to guarantee that mid lane tier 1 turret. And now they will rotate down towards that Drake, spawning in 6 seconds.
Yeah, that was a very, very great engage from Mills. Just can I call it a great engage from Mills, or can I just say this another opportunity, another instance of mispositioning there from Revolved and Darkfire, stepping up to a Syndra, a Fed Syndra? Not exactly the greatest move to make, but we'll see how it works out for him, Cotton, as we do see the side of Peacemakers just walk in, ignore all previous priority by Scuttlecock in the bottom side river and say, this is our dragon, we're stacking them up right now, please leave the vicinity. And they have 2 of the Mountain Drakes, and it's going to be potentially in about 4.5 minutes a triple Mountain Drake, Mountain Soul for the side of Peacemakers if they're able to go ahead and get it. But can I just go ahead and mention that top side fight that we were just talking, that we just kind of had to gloss over because of everything that happened in the mid lane? Eureka solo killing Shin. Just Phil was solo killed by a Comet Malphite. This wasn't Grasp Malphite. And I do believe that once Eureka did flash at the end of that fight, he was on single digits, because I looked at it like 2 seconds later and he was at like 50 HP. He had to have been on single digits at the end of that engage with the Shin there. So that was just an amazing, obviously, 5-head calculated play there from Eureka on this Malphite. He knows the exact limits of this champion, able to get that kill there on the Shin and get himself the Thornmail. He's going to be very, very strong. He has Merc Treads and has that No Magic Mantle, so he's going to be looking to really get rid of anything that Mills on this Syndra can dish out. Already has the Ludens and the Seraph's Embrace in the back pocket. Going for the stopwatch. No, going for the Zonias next. And once Mills has this Zonias, he's going to be almost as close to unkillable as possible if he gets enough peel.
Yeah, it could be the case. You know, we do talk about itemization. I think it is the itemization that was the reason that third Drake, or the fourth one, excuse me, was not contested by the likes of Scuttlecock here. 2 items had come in for the jungler, 2 items had come in for the AD carry, and there is a level lead for Nitrogen, so they didn't want to risk it all. Down in itemization at that Drake, just going to scale up, try to get ready for the Drake spawning in 3 minutes or the Baron. You can see a lot of item completions have now come through for Scuttlecock. 2 items pretty much across the board for them as well. Certainly in a position to fight despite being down 2K gold.
Yeah, so down
Oh,
about,
baby.
yeah. Oh, hold up. Meals?
Nitrogen. Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay. I'm a little surprised he didn't just pop the Ragnarok. Of course, we have mentioned already the bit of the weakness of the Ragnarok. No, hold on. Not going to get a chance to go through it because Darkfire is stunned up. Third shot going to connect. The fourth one is blocked as Revolve has jumped onto the Jhin in the backline. But guess who's on the team? It's a Shen showing up to give Glow the protection, gets the taunt down. And despite the flash that was expended for Revolve, still goes down. The bottom lane for Peacemakers is gone, and now the march towards the Baron is on for Scuttlecock.
Yeah, and once again, what do we see? The bot lane for Peacemakers mispositioning once again. Now, Glow does open up the curtains, but let's go.
Eureka pretty strong here, but not as strong in the backline is the likes of Banana Bottle, who gets the shockwave out onto 3, but it's not enough damage. Eureka destined to fall as well, and the turn is pristine from the likes of Scuttlecock. Now they've got this one pretty much in the bag. However, Nitrogen, the jungler, still alive, has the chance to make the hero play. He has Flash, he has Smite. Can Nitrogen keep his team in this game? He will come over the wall. Will they be able to taunt him up, DPS him down? Here we go, coming over the wall. No, It is Cobra who secures the Baron, and now they're fighting it out. Nitrogen's picked up one, couple of low health bars. Nitrogen's trapped in the pit. He's going to turn on the Ragnarok, go back in. Great stopwatch will keep Meals alive, and now they're turning back onto the rest of Peacemakers. Revolve is all alone, and it's Meals. Who else but Meals to clean up the fight as Peacemakers picks up the Baron on 4.
Wow. Now, I didn't actually hate that flash smite from Nitrogen. He just got it. I think it was actually on triple digits after he smited it, so it's half a second more. He may have been able to actually steal that away, but the follow-up from Revolved and Darkfire, you were never going to get your jungler out of position. He was going to have to steal the Baron by trading it for his life. And once again, even before that fight happened, the engage that actually helped the side of Scuttlecock even make a move for the Baron was Revolved and Darkfire once again playing out of position, being too far deep in enemy territory, getting caught out one after the other, and then just then again, we see them go ahead and give Meals even more gold. So Meals has Ludens, Seraphs, has the Zonias already completed, and does have this verdant barrier that allows him to say, okay, Banana Bottle, you can't touch me. I already know Revolved and Darkfire can't touch me. Eureka's a tank. And Nitrogen, whatever armor I get from Zonias is what's gonna have to be. But for the most part, Meals is so extremely strong. There's not really many members of Peacemakers who can really get onto him and really disturb him.
Here we go. Curtain call coming out as Cobra coming from a flank angle gets the onslaught of shadows out, but not really on any of the carries. Shen comes in with the Stand United. They've got Banana Bottle taunted up. She goes down, trying to find in the front line as Eureka's got the fight split. It's a shutdown onto Glow, and healing up is Nitrogen, but cannot stay alive. Eureka destined to fall here in the front line, but look at how much time is being bought by just Phil. They can't even take him down. Darkfire now in some trouble. He's going to run down. Revolve's going to dash back in, but immediately gets taunted up. Can Revolve stay alive? Tearing it around. One more Q will do it. They will pick up Cobra. It's Meals, 25 HP up against Revolve, who is on 0 health. Scatter the Weak will connect with Eureka. They're going to pick up 1. Will they pick up 2? Revolve and Meals so low health here. A W from Revolve is likely to come off cooldown in the next couple of seconds. Will he be able to connect it? Gonna pop the vision plant to try to find it. A TP's coming in, and this is death. There's no way out for Meals now. Unleash Power is coming off of cooldown,
Wait.
but it's not quite there yet. Can he get this? Oh, wait, it's up. Unleash Power's up. Can he do this? This would be insane for Meals. All he needs is one stun. No, the huge W on the command dissonance will pick it up for Banana Bottle. But now more fighting around the Drake. Nitrogen showing back up. Cobra is running here as fast as he can, but I don't know if he can get here. Just Phil going to come in. Solar Flare going to come out. Banana Bottle already down. Revolved. Zoned out by Just Phil. Jungler's going very low here against Reserved of all people. He will pick up a double kill. Now Eureka teleporting in, but they've left their jungler all alone in the back of the fight. He will fall as well to Cobra. Wait, no, he's going to live with 10 HP. This is insane. Nitrogen's just alive. Just Phil has to flash away. What is going on, Shelly? This is madness around this Soul Drake, and still nobody has started up. Finally, Eureka gonna be the one to aggro it. Now, importantly, Just Phil goes back to base, but he has to stand united. Here he comes along with Meals' TP. Huge scatter the weak. And down goes Darkfire. Eureka doesn't have the ulti. There's no... Wait. Okay, Eureka trying to get something done, but he's just getting zoned away. Dragon going to be taken low and will finally be taken down by Scuttlecock. I mean, what have I been shouting at the computer screen for, 2 minutes here?
Yeah, that was at least 3 or 4 different engages. Meals going absolutely nuts. We watched him go 2v1 into another 2v1. Him versus Revolved, both with about 100 HP each going at it. And then Banana Bottle going ahead and TPing in. Just 1 Q into a scatter the weak. Got Meals, got Banana Bottle down to half health. Like you said, the command distance was able to secure the kill, but by that point, I think it was Meals had already wasted so much time, and he got his jungler back alive. So Cobra goes back in, then Just Phil over the top with the Scout of the Week. I mean, Nitrogen just doesn't die out of nowhere, and that Strike Breaker plus the Stairs Gauge does have the Spirit Visage now in the back pocket as well, as we do see a little bit of posturing there potentially for the start of the Baron in about a minute, but no, just gonna come back down to bot lane. But there's so many different fights, so many engages, both these junglers unwilling to give up that Drake. Peacemakers doesn't want to give Scuttlecock a single extra Drake, and Scuttlecock understands that if this Malphite, if this Olaf, and this Nautilus gets triple Mountain Dragon, Mountain Soul, it's going to be a very, very tough time for Meals to really crack through. But, I mean, he's already extremely strong. He's doing half everyone's damage regardless. But that was just an extremely, extremely drawn-out fight. We saw an extended ace earlier. That was 4 fights for one dragon. It doesn't stop.
Wow, look at how fast Cobra is zooming into the backline here. Already going low as Revolved and falling to Just Phil. Frontline is Nitrogen trying to buy some space and time, but Banana Bottle is in trouble, and it's the second one for Just Phil. Taunt, stun, gonna come out, double scatter the weak. It's an absolute massacre from the likes of Scuttlecock. 4 for 0. Eureka trying to run away, but I don't know if he can. Here comes the plant, going to be popped, going to be rooted up by the deadly flourish. Cobra trying to run him down. He's too tanky to be taken down. And finally, the rest of the team pings, get Cobra back to reality. The Baron's up on the map. They got plenty of time with Nitrogen down, and they're going to take down their second purple worm.
Yeah, Cobra just can't be killed with this Chem tank into Dead Man's into Force of Nature. I mean, it's just disgusting how much he lives. And you see, it was a good fight, a good 4v4 happening there in the bot side river. And then what do you see? Mills comes and just ruins all the fun. It's like that one friend, you're out there playing basketball with your friends. You're all not that great. You're just hanging out, being casual, and then Mills comes up, dunking it on you every 4 seconds, saying, "Okay, guys, I want to play." Like, Mills, if you're gonna play, then you have to play by our rules. You can't just be out here, dunking and whatnot. Mills says, "No, I play to win." Doing 360s between the legs, all that kind of stuff, making a highlight reel. 14, 2, and 7 on this Syndra, almost full build. Building up toward that hat, that very, very fancy hat that you want to have if you are a mage. Just eons ahead of Banana Bottle, almost very close to a Flame Horizon there. And can you just speak about what Cobra has done? Look, 52 kills in 34 minutes, and Cobra's been a part of 25 of the 31 for the side of Scuttlecock. He is an extremely proactive and interactive jungler on this side of Scuttlecock. He is the initiator and the reason why a lot of these kills are going down. He is not afraid to dive in deep into the composition of Peacemakers, and once he gets in there, sets it up, he just tees it up for Mills, who can just clean it up.
Yeah. So we got to look at the state of the game here. There is some trading in top lane. Eureka just trying to bust up the wave. I don't think Just Phil can kill him, even after ticking 18. This is the second Baron for Scuttlecock. We kind of forgot in all of the fighting that the first one was wasted a little bit, as they did have that extended fight around the Drake. It allowed them to secure the Drake, but they didn't bust any of these tier 2 turrets, which they are now trying to do with this second Baron. They have a nearly 8k gold lead at the moment. Will not likely win the game off this Baron push unless they win a huge fight, which Glow is looking to start up here. We'll just back up now as the first one falls. Oh, here we go. Action going to start as the TP in behind Meals. Already going to be stunned up. In comes Just Phil to try to help out. The stopwatch going to buy a ton of time. So does the Onslaught of Shadows. Already out is the Unleashed Power. Eureka trying to run Meals down while the frontliners are trying to stay alive. But Nitrogen is just healing up and Meals has fallen. It was Revolve diving into the back line, and this one is falling apart for Scuttlecock.
Whoa.
It's 2 kills over to the side, 3 now over to the side of Peacemakers, and the push has fallen apart. The one good thing that they can take out of that is while 4 members of Peacemakers were occupied getting the kills in the bottom lane, they pick up the mid inhibitor, but more critically, they're going to lose the Mountain Soul, a permanent buff over to Peacemakers.
And that was so tough. We do see Eureka with the 5-head teleport down to the bot lane is able to go ahead and get that unstoppable force onto Mills. And what was great was that Mills was able to use the Zonias to stay impervious for a little bit after he did get knocked up. But the sad thing was he uses the unleashed power onto Eureka. You don't want to use that ability onto Eureka. He is the last member of the team of Peacemakers who you want to use that ability on. Uses it on him, and after that, there was just really no shot of Mills doing very much damage. The only thing I can say that is decent for Mills was at least he hadn't already built up his Metashift. That would have been at least 25 stacks. He would have lost 10 of those right then, right there. So that's the only thing you can say about that. But on the back end, we did see Revolve get at least 2 kills, one 400 gold shutdown, one 600 gold shutdown. That was on Mills. And Revolve was able to get 1,600 gold at least just out of that engage alone in the bot lane. So went back to base, now has 4 items, and however far behind Revolve was early on, however bad positioning he had early on, a 4-item Kai'Sa is nothing to sniff at, nothing to sneeze at. So we might see a lot more proactive play, a lot more competitive and stronger play out of this Kai'Sa as we reach nearly the 40-minute mark of this game.
Yeah, Kai'Sa now showing the 777, something you love to see in Vegas. Maybe not as much in a League of Legends game, but will be feeling happy now. 1,000 gold over her counterpart on those 4 items. Still has a lot to worry about with that Syndra roaming around the map. 1 Unleashed Power will still likely chunk her down, maybe 3/4 HP at least. Particularly if that death cap does come in for boots later on. Nevertheless, very strong members now available for the likes of Peacemakers. We got multiple members trying to clear out this vision around the Baron. It will be spawning in 1:30, followed by the Elder Drake in 4 minutes. So there will be a bit of a lull here. I don't think anyone's really going to want to fight over anything small, particularly with supers pushing down mid lane for Scuttlecock, and there will just be a state of farming before we get those big objectives. But man, Shelly, we have seen a ton of big fights, chaotic fights, great macro play coming out from these teams, and it's likely just all going to come down to 2 big slugfests around these 2 big objectives.
Oh yeah, you said it best. It's not going to be 1 good fight. It's going to probably be 2 big fights because we've seen extended fights all across the map. Fights that end past 2 different complete aces for teams. You see 2 members go down for a trade for 3 other members, and then those members get revived. They come back in, get the wipe for the other side, and then those other members who died earlier come back in, and we just see extended 2-3 minute fights for 1 objective. We're going to see this happen again, and if we can just go ahead and look at the see individual gold as we do see is a quick little push down mid. I don't expect to see a fight happening as Eureka does face check potentially into Cobra, but just a 5k gold difference for the mid laners. Mills is extremely huge. Command protect there just to get him out of there, although he is Malphite, he doesn't need too much protection. But I mean, even still with that great engage, hold up.
Oh, Eureka whips an ultimate there, and that's going to probably spell the retreat bells. As no way you're going to be able to follow up. Now going to get slowed up by multiple of the curtain call angles. Oh, look at the speed on Cobra as he pops everything, gets just Phil into the backline, knocked up as the fight is once again split. Both members, it's revolved to pick up the first kill. Will they be able to pick up more? Traded back onto Eureka, but just Phil has fallen. Great scatter the weak. Heal going to come out. It's 3 against 4 at the moment. Both carries still alive for either side, but the man advantage will be used by Peacemakers to head over to this Baron that is now up on the map.
Yeah, and what turned out to be an extremely, let's call it ambitious engage from Eureka, whiffing that unstoppable force, turned out to actually work out in Peacemaker's favor, and they just melt this Baron down to its core. That's just disgusting. With no Hecarim, no Shin on the board for the side of Scuttlecock, we're watching them kind of disintegrate right before our eyes. They did have a 6k gold lead just 2 minutes before. Now it's gone down to a 4k gold lead. And all the power that this Syndra had early on doesn't really matter now that you're getting more and more items, more and more MR on the side of Peacemakers. We do see the Spirit Visage for Nitrogen, the Force of Nature for Eureka, the Banshee's Veil for Banana Bottle, so Scatter the Weeks won't really hurt him so much. I mean, you're looking at a team that scaled a little bit harder and is not really all that worried about this Syndra so much. Now it's going to take the side of Scuttlecock doing the same things that won them the early game and the mid game. Cobra going in, finding good flank angles, finding good angles to use the onslaught of shadows into the E. Just Phil using the Stay United on top of him, and Mills following up very, very well. But with this Kai'Sa just being so strong and Eureka on this Malphite, just getting tickled every time the Glow pops that ultimate, opens those curtains up, and what does he see? Him not doing very much damage. That's what. And we're going to see another fight here for this Elder Drake coming up in 20 seconds.
I don't know if they know Eureka's here. That Jin E, the trap did not spot out Eureka. Now they will finally spot him out with the ward. That was critical. That could have been a great flank angle for Eureka as this Elder Drake does spawn. You can see actually a split push angle coming out from the side of Scuttlecock as just fills in the top lane, and now curtain call going to be popped. All 5 members in the pit around this Elder Drake. I think they're trying to just stop the backs here. Teleports are into the base. They're going for the base race here. In comes the Hecarim. The red team will slay the dragon. So Elder Drake over to the likes of Peacemakers. They're going to have to get back to their base. Can they get there in time? They do. They pick up the Elder. They pick up 2 kills. And they will keep their base alive. So the Gambit does not pay off for Scuttlecock. And now they face a full 5-member Elder and Baron to keep their game alive. I don't think they're going to be able to do it, especially with Eureka stopping the backs. It's Meals and Just Phil against Banana Bottle and Eureka, but 3 members are in the base against only Glow. You can see the base here now. If we shift over to the base, 1 inhibitor already going down the back, coming through for Meals, but it will be Just Phil likely falling. Cobra is still down, and that is it. It's going to be the game. A 44-minute thriller, but Peacemakers take game 1.
44 minutes, 62 kills, and a game that ends up with almost exactly even gold for both sides here. This was an absolute banger, a long one, but a banger indeed for the side of both Scuttlecock and for our guys here rocking over here on oh man, what is the Peacemakers? I'm sorry, Peacemakers. That was, I mean, I said from the beginning I like Peacemakers draft a lot more, but I have to admit I thought Scuttlecock definitely had that in the early and the mid game. We saw Mills go absolutely crazy on the Syndra at all points of the game. Early on, it looked like things weren't going to work out because that level 1 invade and tri-brush ended up in a 2-for-1 at the advantage of Peacemakers. But just after all that happened, Mills never slowed down. Mills never stopped. And if you look at the damage here, I'm not sure if we have it up on the screen right now, but Mills' highest damage in the game at 33,000. Next highest is the Shin, and the next highest on the side of Scuttlecock or of Peacemakers was the Kaisa at 27,000, almost 28,000. But Revolve didn't really have a great game until the late game after those very big shutdowns on both Meals and I believe it was in Cobra. So that just goes to show you that if you can scale a little bit harder, or if you're not able to end the game on the side of Scuttlecock, then anything can happen. And I just think that Scuttlecock had numerous chances to win, but they allow Peacemakers to get resistances and allow them to not really care much about the Syndra anymore. And those engages from Cobra and Just Phil were great, but they just weren't enough after this Mao fight was able to scale up, after Revolve was able to get those shutdowns, and Oriana's shockwaves hit a little harder. That was a good game, but a missed opportunity for Scuttlecock to get a quick win in game number 1.
Yeah, despite some heroic efforts from Meals on that Syndra, it's not enough to hold off Peacemakers, who do manage to come away with the win in a 44-minute epic that was full of chaos, of great micro, of great macro, of mistakes and kills all over the board. We'll have to see if that is going to be repeated in game number 2, or if we'll get a more controlled approach from either of these teams. Stick around. We'll be back with that game 2 right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 2 between Peacemakers and Scuttlecock in Metashift League Xenon Division. It's match week 1, and my, oh my, did we have a banger of a Game 1. It was chaotic as all get out, a 44-minute slugfest. I was having heart palpitations trying to cast some of the fights, and I am excited to see what these two teams are going to bring out for game number 2 after that crazy game 1 performance.
Yeah, banger is one word for it indeed, DJ. That last game was something. And I think that is the best way to describe that game. That may be the best and only adjective to use to describe that game last game. But we are past that right now. We are going on to game number 2 between Scuttlecock and Peacemakers. The very first ban is in. And we're seeing Peacemakers go ahead and use what was their first ban last time, going ahead and making sure they do the same thing again. We see that Thresh banned, and we do see the echo repeated. Seraphine was banned by Scuttlecock, and they said, we do not want to see this man, Banana Bottle, on that Orianna again. Get him out of here.
Yep, so pretty much the same, actually the same bans coming out from Peacemaker. Scuttlecock have that same Seraphine ban. The Orianna will be shifted into this pick ban in favor of what I believe was the Diana last game, and they'll take away the Olaf as well from Nitrogen. So the Lilia and the Diana that were banned away last time will be available, but instead Peacemaker's going to say, hey, we want that horse too.
Yeah, they go ahead and say, okay, we saw what you were able to do on that horse. You had some really good engages, and Cobra looked extremely, extremely impressive on the horse last game. But Scuttlecock says, hold up, we wanted the horse, we want the Scorpion. You may be able to fear us with one ability, but just Skarner's presence on the map itself brings fear to everyone's heart. He is the Kidnap King, the Scorpion of Scare. He can get in there, and once he impales you, you're going nowhere but backward, and you will be most likely cooked by them. We see the Kaiser also get picked up for Scuttlecock. That's going to be Glow's champion, and we're going to see if he's able to have a much better early and mid game on this same champion in this game too than he had in game 1.
Yeah, Nautilus going to be picked up once again for Darkfire, both a comfort pick and a takeaway from the Kaisa lane. And yeah, you were mentioning that this Skarner is scary. You know, there's nothing scarier than a literal advanced IRS agent coming to take you down. You know, you don't pay your taxes, he will literally kill you. So there's that to be afraid of. We do see that Nautilus still waiting for the third pick to round out phase 1 for Peacemakers. It's going to be Lucian. That is a flexible pick there. Could be a mid lane Lucian, could be an AD carry. Doesn't match up too poorly into Kaisa because they both are pretty low range ADCs, so can't really get bullied out like he would against, say, a Caitlyn and Ashe, champions that have a lot more range to keep him at bay. So I do like this flexible pick from Peacemakers, and it should give them some ability to find some counters in the second phase of pick ban. We do see that Malphite. Yeah, they don't want Eureka back on that champion. Was a monster on that one. Of course, was put ahead in the early game due to the crazy level 1, but he did make the most of it, got to a point of extreme tankiness, and was just a nuisance for Just Phil pretty much the entire time.
Yeah, when you're solo killing a Shin on Malphite, you just know the very next game you got to go ahead and get rid of it. Now, I do want to go back to the picks here. Kaisa and Alistair, I do love this lane a lot more than Kaisa Nautilus. And while this Lucian is a very flexible pick, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's just probably going to Revolved. Neither one of Revolved or Banana Bottle do play Lucian all that much in solo queue, but I have to say that it fits Revolve's champ pool a little bit stronger than it does fit banana bottles. As we do see the rounded out bands here, Peacemaker about getting rid of 2 more top laners in the Kennen and the Shin, and it'll be the Cho'Gath taken away from Eureka here, making sure, look, you can't play these chunky weak side top laners. What else do you got? And for the side of reserve for you, we are looking. No, actually, this is probably gonna be just Phil on the Karma, most likely mid. Now you could on top. I mean, it could go mid, but we've been seeing a lot more of these enchanters going top lane, and we're gonna have to see what Eureka decides to do against this Karma. What will the pick be?
Yeah, I'm intrigued with this one. I do imagine this would go top lane. It will require an AD mid laner and likely a sort of hyper carry. So I'd be looking at Yone. I'd be potentially looking at Tristana. The Wukong is going to be the pick to answer what is likely the Karma. It can still go mid, of course. Wow, they have no AP. They're going to have to pick an AP champion here if they want to, they really need to round out this draft. I would imagine that means Lucian will end up bottom lane. So we'll see what Peacemakers does elect to draft here. I'm interested with the Wukong. I actually would have liked to see the Tristana and then maybe an AP top laner, but instead they will go for that Diana. So it will be Lucian Nautilus in the bottom lane, Diana mid, Wukong top. We'll see where this Karma does end up as the last pick will come through for Scuttlecock pretty soon. Let's see what they elect to do. I want to see a sort of hyper scaling AD champion. That works. Corki, not quite what you would think of in that sense. Maybe, thinking more Tristana, more Yone, but Corki is a carry that gets very, very strong in the late game, can be buffed up by the Karma, and does offer some extra AD threat.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, the Corki isn't the first thing that comes to mind. Now, it does scale very, very well, but the thing is, he's a lot safer. Now, when I think about Mills' last performance on that Syndra, the last thing I think about is safe. Mills was an absolute menace on the Rift. I would have thought that, like you said, the Tristana came to my mind immediately. My first thought was Tristana, and I think Tristana just being so strong right now in the meta and being first pickable in literally all regions, I thought that I was just lock steady on Tristana being the mid laner here. But Corki is still strong enough, a different role than the Syndra for Mills. So we're going to see how he's able to adjust and adapt to a different role here on the Corki. But my eyes really do go to this Peacemakers draft. We saw that Diana was banned away from Banana Bottle in the last game. Able to get that Diana. And let's not forget that Eureka does play a lot of Wukong in solo queue. So this is going to be comfort for both the top and mid laner here. I want to see how this Lucian does, but I definitely want to see what Eureka does against this Karma lane, how he's gonna fare. I think it's a decent enough matchup. Obviously, you don't want to go against Karma; it's an annoying matchup. But this Peacemakers lineup is this doubling down on that dive potential. Yeah, the Diana, the Wukong ultimate, while you're just spinning, winning, grinning. You got a clone as well. He's doing the same thing twice. So monkey see, monkey do. Hecarim, we already saw what Cobra was able to do with the Onslaught of Shadows into the E, knocking you back. Very great engage all around for Peacemakers. And while Lucian is a very strong lane bully early, like you did mention, he does have low range, so he's going to have to be protected and peeled for very, very heavily. In this comp that does want to go and dive, there's a decent amount of front to back, but nothing that you don't really want to do front to back with Diana and Hecarim on your composition. So I want to see just how well of positioning we'll see out of Revolved on this Lucian. That was a problem for him in the last game, but I still do think that he has a really strong chance of having a very, very big impact, especially in the early game. If he's able to get ahead, then his damage will do the work for him.
Yeah, it could be the case. It might be a little bit of a struggle for the Lucian with all the range available, the Karma, the Corki, all there to make his life pretty difficult. But we will have to see if the side of Peacemakers can get these big wombo combo dives off. You've got those 3 dive buddies. You got the Nautilus to do the setup. So that will likely be the win condition for them if they can get it in fights. It's going to be an interesting laning phase, though, because they have chosen a lot of melee champions. Diana and Wukong are both going to be up against ranged matchups, so they will likely struggle in the early laning phase. And that makes me wonder, how is Nitrogen going to handle himself in this early game? He's on a champion that needs to get ahead, that wants tempo against the Skarner, and none of his lanes are likely to have priority.
Well, that's going to be the dinner bell ringing for Nitrogen, saying, okay, you don't have priority. Well, we may not be able to get one of these scuttle crabs, but at least on the Hecarim, you're able to have effective ganks earlier on. On the Skarner, you can gank pre-6, but it's extremely and significantly weaker than your post-6 ganks. Hecarim can gank level 4, even level 3 if you really want to. I think that he'll have a much stronger chance at, if your lane doesn't have priority, that's fine. You come in behind them, get that E off, and push them into tower range. And if you're doing that against a Diana that wants Corki to get in, although Corki will probably not be one of the easier lanes to actually abuse. The Valkyrie gets you out of the way very, very quickly. I think wanting to go ahead and abuse Just Fill on this Karma may be the name of the game for Nitrogen and Eureka. But I also want to be surprised if we go ahead and see this Hecarim find its way bot side to try to get Kaisa behind, because we did see Revolved needs a little bit of resources to accelerate his game if the first game is anything to go off of. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the top and bot lanes the priority here. I think I would want to get Wukong ahead, because he is really the only real front line that's going to have items outside of Nautilus. But Wukong is going to be one of the main initiators. I want him to have gold. I want him to be able to peel for this Lucian, who is also short range.
Well, we'll have to see if Scuttlecock can turn it around, or if Peacemaker is going to use what you have just given, the advice that you've just given them, Shellytron, to run away with this series in 2-0 fashion. Stick around. We'll be back with game number 2 between these two teams right after this spectator break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game 2 between Peacemakers and Scuttlecock. It is Metashift League Xenon Division week number 1, match number 1, and Peacemakers has a chance to take it home today in 2-0 fashion, but they have selected for themselves a very interesting composition. 3 melee champions in topside against 2 ranged solo laners. This will be fascinating to see how the lane goes and whether they can get themselves to those critical level 6 marks so they can get the dives going.
Yeah, so we see one more time, we see Peacemakers going ahead and sitting in a brush. It looks like they were trying to get a counter engage on what they believed would most likely be an invade onto the red buff. That's not going to happen. We just see a 5-man line of scrimmage being pulled out here by Scuttlecock. So just going to have everyone sit here for a little bit. We're going to probably see both junglers start bot side, path their way up top. If I am Nitrogen, I really do want to make sure that my man Eureka on this monkey is able to have a decent laning phase against Just Phil on Karma. It's just gonna be heavily favored for Karma. And like you mentioned, this is a very, if you want to just use the word interesting, then that's the word you want to use for the composition of Peacemakers. But if they're able to actually execute on it, this could be a very strong dive comp against the squishy members of Scuttlecock. But if you're diving in on that Skarner, that's exactly what he wants from you. So we're gonna have to see if there's any balance or any kind of ebb and flow that comes with how they want to use their team comp.
Yeah, it will be fascinating. And again, my eye's going to be on Nitrogen because he will be against 3 pushing lanes. He's going to have to find either a way to just full clear his jungle, but maybe some clever ways to sneak camps to stay alive as he does go through his path. There should be a lot, and I mean a lot, of priority and a lot of freedom in the decision-making for Cobra. The early push already coming out for Revolved in this bottom lane as the jungler's just going through their motions of the full clear.
Oh yeah, well I think mid and top will definitely be pushed, but Lucian is an extreme lane bully, especially with this Nautilus. I think he'll have prio bot at the very least, but he is pathing away from there, and he is clearing just slightly slower than Cobra on this Skarner. But we're gonna most likely see both of them gank here top. I really want to see them both gank top as pretty even farming going on in the top lane. Looking around at these keystones where we have a moment, we do see the phase rush come out from Nitrogen on this Hecarim. We're seeing a lot more of these horses going away from the Conqueror build, wanting to index more into speed once you get into these fights, especially these long drawn out ones. That's good enough. I prefer Conqueror myself, but I don't have any problem with phase rush, especially into these more squishy compositions like Scuttlecock has. Outside of that, we're not really seeing anything too crazy. Just Phil running Airy, that's about standard. Outside of that, yeah, this pretty standard keystones all around.
Yeah, so before the break, I didn't really get to ask you, Shelly, much. You gave a lot of advice to these 2 comps, but how do you feel about these 2 comps? Like, we've seen what these players can do. Banana Bottle struggling in game number 1 up against the scaling Corki. Nitro now in this Hecarim. His Meals will just back away from this one. Hecarim just going to walk down to bot side. He's got priority through the bottom lane. So this is what you talked about. And it looks like they're going to double crab through the bot lane prio. So nice early game stuff there from the bottom lane, using their early priority to set Nitrogen up for success. And that's the kind of stuff I want to see. But let's hear what you have to say, Shelly. How do you feel about these comps? How do you feel about the players after game 1? And do you think they've set themselves up for success on either side?
Well, since this is week 1 of the Metashift League in the Xenon division, I think that what we're seeing out of Banana Bottle, Revolved, and Eureka is them saying, let me just go ahead and skill check real quick. Am I rusty? This is our first week back into this competitive league right now, so I want to just go ahead and see if I can win my lane on this Diana. And keep in mind, Eureka picked this Wukong into the Karma. This wasn't a Karma counter pick. This was him choosing to play Wukong into Karma as he gets poked almost out of lane there. Wow, that was actually a great engage by Just Phil, who is feeling really good, has both his pots still up there, not really feeling any kind of effects at all from Eureka. But I feel like Peacemaker's composition is one where you choose this just to I don't want to say BM, but to make yourself just to see where you are in your skills. This is definitely a skill check. It's definitely a, if I win on this champion, I'm just better because I should never win this matchup. But for the side of Scuttlecock, I think their competition is a little bit easier or much easier to execute on. You have very clear win cons, play behind Cobra's ganks, play around his R. You do have some really good engage with a reserve for you on this Alistair. I will say that outside of Alistair, they are fairly squishy. So if their initial engage does not work, if their shot calls aren't crisp and their positioning is not right, they can get blown up very easily. And even one of these members getting blown up is going to give away an objective because you have no front line if Alistair goes down. You have not enough damage if Glow goes down. And so on and so forth for each of the members, depending on what they give to the comp. You know, the Enchanter and Just Phil, or a little bit more of some more damage coming over time with Meals on this Corki. But overall, as we see, potentially, nope, this potential gank's gonna get spotted out. It is Cobra at level 5 though, so not very strong gank potential. He will be hitting level 6 very, very soon. I think I feel better about Scuttlecock's composition, but I think Peacemaker. I have to. Whenever I've seen picks like this, whenever I see people go crazy, look, hold up.
Level 6 is in. Banana Bottle going to get the ulti out. The Ignite is down, but surviving his meals. Cobra still not level 6. Is going to flash and get the stun. Oh, going back in is Banana Bottle, but not going to hit the auto, and Banana Bottle's fall for first blood. It's Meals once again getting the mid gap.
Okay, well, you flash forward. Cobra had no shot of hitting 6 on that wave. You're gonna be good to flash back. You can get behind him. I don't know if he looked at the level above Cobra's head, but I assume Banana Bottle assumed that Cobra was gonna hit 6 on that. And right there, you use your flash to go ahead and try to hit Meals. I think Mills actually popped the exhaust, and that was why Banana Bottle was not able to get that engage on him. But as a melee champion, that was a kind of a head scratcher there, especially when you saw how heavy the diff was in the last game. That you're allowing this Corki to get ahead sooner than you really want him to. Already has Sheen in the back pocket, stacking that tier already. That was a bit of a head scratcher, and that's just one of the things that goes into it. If you have a comp that's hard to execute in, you can't donate kills. You can't get yourself behind in your own lane and expect to have a good late game, because they scale a little bit harder than you do. And Meals kind of had his way with you earlier on in the very first game of the night. You did end up winning the game. So that engage there was a little bit weird. You allowed Cobra to benefit off of a pre-6 gank and come ahead.
Yeah, the flashback in not working out for Banana Bottle, so now will find himself pretty far behind in lane. It's 9 CS and the kill. First blood over to Corki, who's got the Sheen in the inventory. That lane is a winning one now for the likes of Scuttlecock, as they are losing pretty much everywhere else. This Karma is actually 5 CS behind Wukong. Eureka has been doing an incredible job keeping himself even and even ahead in that lane. And yeah, Karma should be ahead 10, 15 CS on this Wukong, and that's not going in that direction. Meanwhile, Revolved on this Lucian is just bullying this lane. He's 20 CS ahead of this Kaisa for Glows. So a lot of leads just established through laning prowess alone. You can see it is 600 gold on the scoreboard for Peacemakers, despite the fact that they lost out on first blood. Okay, Meals just going to dash away from the ulti. Flashing by Eureka. He's got the ulti. Conqueror's up, and he's going to take Meals down, but he's likely going to fall. Oh, my goodness. Will there be a flash to follow, or will Eureka just walk out? Oh, my God, Shells. He had to survive with, 50 HP.
Wow, yeah, I was looking at it. It was about 50 HP on the monkey, flashes in, gets the Cyclone in, and wow, that is one way to say, Mills, you're not going to have your way with our jungler. Hold up.
Cobra is a level up, but he's going to be in trouble. The hook not going to land. Dredge line going wide will allow Cobra to just walk out. He'll lose out on his wolves, but his bot lane's late. I don't know what he's doing here. Okay, Corki's got package. That's what he's doing here. Revolved in some trouble, trying to flash away. Doesn't get the ulti out in time, but the onslaught of shadows will take down Meals. Now jumping in is Glow, a lot of low health bars, Banana Bottle burning down to the Ignite. Cobra just staying alive. The last tick will not take down the Skarner, and it ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of Scuttlecock.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting, DJ? We saw that first engage underneath the mid lane turret where Banana Bottle got his first death. But even on the back end of that, we did see Peacemakers get that first dragon, an Ocean Drake. And then when we were watching all this happen in the mid lane, out of nowhere, we off screen, Nitrogen took that first Herald and was able to push into the mid lane and get some very needed gold for him. And I assume Banana Bottle, I want to see how much gold he has. Yeah, he's actually ahead in gold on Mills, who was able to get the first blood. So I have to only assume that Banana Bottle was able to share in that turret gold that came in off the Herald. But I mean, just amazing play from Nitrogen to be able to get these objectives, even when his team is not doing all that great or not coming out on top in these engages. Just very, very good. And Banana Bottle isn't playing poorly. It's just that every time he gets an engage on, it's always, hold up, just Phil, coming in a little too close.
Yeah, ulti is available for Eureka. Didn't want to go in at that occasion. There is still a flash on the Karma. He does not have the cooldown, so won't be able to follow up probably appropriately. Neil's just going to push this wave in. You did mention, the jungle sort of difference here. Despite giving up first blood, Meals had to go back to base and doesn't have the TP that did allow the full health Nitrogen to come on in at level 6 and take that one away. They had Prio from the bottom lane as well. So again, those sort of farming differences making big differences across the map for the likes of Peacemakers. All of those advantages, all of that pressure that they're generating in matchups they really shouldn't is helping them. And now Cobra, way overextended to try to get that Spire, will be forced to burn the flash. It is a good flash, but nevertheless will be without that critical summoner that is so important to every Skarner engage. This Drake now spawning. He wants back in. He's going to get there. He's going to suppress the Lucian. Already down is Revolve. There's what happens when you don't have QSS. Nitrogen trying to get it done on the backside, but it's already 2 over to Glow. And there are 4 members now, 5 members here. Q going to land. They're going to slow up Nitrogen. The last rocket from Meals will pick up Darkfire. And it's a 4-for-1 in 4-for-none, in favor of Scuttlecock.
That was such a disturbing engage. You think that Peacemakers has a chance. They were able to get in there and burn Cobra's flash, but there's a numbers advantage. Karma didn't have TP, neither did Eureka up in the top lane, but Just Phil had just backed. He had just backed, so he was already in Fountain, so he made a move to go down to the Dragon Pit as Just Phil comes back to lane and tries to tickle Eureka a little bit. Eureka's not having it, saying, "Stop that! I don't know you. That's my purse." But yeah, a 4v5 there at the Dragon Pit, and Eureka not able to get there. His waves actually pushed into him, so he wasn't able to really get too much damage onto this turret. 2 plates there at the back end, but he could have had a little bit more. He could have had the whole turret, I think, if he actually had the wave pushed when Just Phil backed. But giving away the dragon and giving away so much gold and kills, Scuttlecock is in complete control. Yes, it's only a 1k gold lead, but that gold lead was in Peacemaker's side earlier. Oh, no,
Just Phil almost certainly dead here. Yeah, all the CC damage going to land. Going to get some healing off of that Empower W, but it's not enough. Banana Bottle will pick that one up, and that's just an overextension from Just Phil. I do want to mention, Shells, that in the build-up to that fight around Drake, the critical aspect coming in is that Nitrogen, despite being ahead in gold, had not based. The Chem Tank was available, and that's what allowed the gap to be closed onto Revolve to kick that fight off. So despite all the power farming that Nitrogen has done, really the timing that Cobra has had around the map, just a little bit better thus far. And you can see 7 assists for the Skarner. That is 100% KP on the 7 kills that they have.
Yeah, and that's extremely important. While we did see Nitrogen get those first 2 objectives, we have seen Cobra helping get his teammates ahead. Now, of those 7 assists, 4 of them did come right there at the Dragon Pit. So he did get boosted heavily, not boosted, but that number did get heavily accelerated in that one engage at the Dragon Pit, which is part of the reason why he was able to get so much more gold. But Meals.
Oh, that's a great CC combination there. You saw that Meals wanted to get to the wall to Valkyrie over, but couldn't make it. But the follow-up play coming in. Revolve still does not have the QSS. He's going to flash over the wall. He's eventually going to get knocked up. But look at all the damage he's doing to Glow. Glow's just going to fall TP from Eureka. And now the layering CC, the AoE knockups coming through. Reserve going low. The shield will just keep him alive from just Phil. 4 members here in the bottom lane for Peacemakers. They're going to call off the fight, move back to their lanes. Unfortunately, the Drake's still 2 minutes away from spawning. It's another Mountain Rift, mind you. So that one, we will be seeing a repeat of that one, but no real objectives for Peacemakers to take. They will just have to be happy with the kills as they head back to base.
Revolve being an absolute maniac, able to survive. We see Cobra's eyes lighting up, seeing an ADC out in the open. Pass River, he says, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get on him. Not able to get up on him. Darkfire able to get the knock up onto Cobra, while Revolve goes ahead and flashes into the alcove and almost kills Glow by himself with that culling right there. If he had Kraken, I think he does get the complete kill onto Glow. But that was a great turnaround for the side of Peacemakers. And now what was a 1K gold lead for Scuttlecock has once again just gone ahead and ping-ponged back over to Peacemakers. We've seen this before. We've seen it before, DJ. These two teams are going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And just trying to get advantages in all of these fights, which we will probably see more of these longer, drawn-out fights, even though the comps have changed.
Yeah, now this is a pretty big mistake coming in here from the likes of Peacemakers. As you can see, Banana Bottle was in top lane to pick up some waves, but they didn't rotate appropriately. Eureka didn't head mid. That gives over the first turret of the game, and the mid lane turret nonetheless. 2 meals. Meantime, the rest of his team takes away the second Rift Herald. So surely, and the mid lane tier 1 in the back pockets of Scuttlecock. They've evened up the gold lead, or the gold count once again, pretty much even there with just a slight 200, now 100 gold lead for them. And that just seemed to be a miscommunication coming out from the side of Peacemakers. There's no way you should be giving up both of those objectives for absolutely nothing in return.
Yeah, and they weren't even positioned or in the right area to even contest for the Herald. So they just gave away for free, and we did see Mills, like you said, just free hitting on that mid lane turret. Like, if you're going to give it to me, I'll go ahead and take it. But with Mountain Dragon on the board in the next 2 seconds, literally right now as I say and end this sentence, we're going to be looking at another 5v5 brewing. Oh, no,
okay.
no, Kill Brush.
They're trying to set up a trap for Meals, who does need to come over. I think Meals' spidey sense is tingling. They don't see him on the map, but it's not going to matter. She's going to run right into it, trying to flash away, but I don't think you can get away. Meals will fall. They want to get on the Drake, but their mid laner is so critical to their damage profile. This is going to be so difficult. They're just going to have to give it up.
Yeah, gotta go ahead and leave the area with no Corki. Like I mentioned, if one of these members goes down, it's gonna be so hard for the side of Scuttlecock to actually have priority in these objectives. You get picked off. You have so many specialists on your team that are absolutely just vital to getting these objectives, that if you lose one, you don't have the team, you don't have the composition to go ahead and fight a frontline with Eureka and Darkfire, and then the sustained damage of Resolve with Nitrogen and Banana Bottle coming in on you, hoping you come into them. But if they have to get onto you, they'll be very happy to do that themselves. So 2 dragons for the side of Peacemakers. They return the favor, get that tier 1 and mid themselves, but don't forget, Cobra does still have this Rift Herald. Maybe should have thought about using that somewhere while that was going down, but he has a lot of time on it still. I want to see where he uses it. Maybe I'd like to see him go ahead and drop this bot lane to get some priority there. Make the side of Peacemakers answer that with Baron coming on the board very, very soon. Make sure they have to keep answering those waves on the opposite side of the map, and maybe you can play around Eureka's teleport. Outside of that, we probably won't see very much more fighting. Who am I kidding? It's Peacemakers versus Scuttlecock. We'll see some more fighting very, very soon.
Yeah, we likely will. As you can see, a lot of members hovering around this top side. They want to try to catch Eureka. W going to be broken. Eureka did dash back in. He's now going to have to pop his ulti, but he will still be suppressed. Should have the second charge available, and the flash likely going to keep him alive for long enough. And here comes the onslaught of shadows, and now things are going to fall apart. Just Phil is already down. The rest of the team is coming. They might be able to hit the blast cone to pop away, and they will. This should keep at least most of them alive, but reserved might be the sacrifice here. He's trying to cut away. Nitrogen will pick him up, and yeah, there's not enough damage there. There's no impale. That's a second one. 2 kills over to Peacemakers as the dive goes wrong, and they continue to extend their gold lead. It's now 2.5K.
This is a much, much different composition for Scuttlecock. You don't win these extended engages anymore. You have a karma, and if your Kaisa or your Corki is not there in the fight, if you don't win in that first burst, as we do see Mills once again free hitting on another turret, getting this gold up, is what you want as a Corki. But if you don't win that first engage in the first few seconds, then you're not going to win a sustained long-term engage, as we do see a very strange Herald placement for Cobra right here. This is not going to get any value whatsoever.
Yeah, that's the I'm out of time and the Rift Herald needs to go down placement there coming from Cobra. So that one is just going to be popped. It is not going to get anything. Banana Bottle just going to pick up an extra little piece of gold, and all of the time spent around that Rift Herald will go to naught for the likes of Scuttlecocks, who, yeah, I mean, again, they do have some scaling options. They have meals, they have glow on these scaling champions, but when you do have a karma, as you mentioned, you're just going to be lacking a little bit of damage profile later in the game, so they're trying to make stuff happen now. Banana Bottle jumping back in will land the ulti onto 2. Meals has the shield come up and will take down 1 with the help of Cobra, but will get traded right back. Look at the damage coming in from Nitrogen. Even with this tanky build, he's so fast that it just bursts you out when you use the devastating charge.
Yeah, that tank build for Hecarim, I don't think you lose very much damage at all. It's because you're able to stay in the fight much longer. And I think Hecarim's used to build things like Merc Treads and steel plated capped boot of not tab eyes anymore. But with building Lucidity now, you're able to use your Q more. You're able to get that E in, maybe even twice in an engage, and you're able to have a little bit more use of your abilities while still being tanky and staying in the fight even longer. Even without Conqueror, even without going Sterix and the what did they used to go? It was Sterix and it was Trinity Force or Sunderer. Even without those, Hecarim still does a lot of damage as this horse, and you only get even stronger with your passive and the extra passive on Deadman's play itself. So he's doing pretty well for himself there. Banana Bottle does get blown up once more going in using the Moonfall, but able to trade it back is the side of Peacemakers, and with this dragon coming up in the next 20 seconds, they're in good shape for priority right here.
Yeah, very good shape as their members are piling in. You can see the back coming in from Just Phil. He does have teleport available, but look at Cobra again, just sort of caught out on the Spire. He's going to flash away. The Nautilus ultimate was already proc, so it will land, and Cobra will just be burst out. The jungler's now gone. How do you even contest this Drake? This one should be free once again for the likes of Peacemakers. It's the second Drake in a row that they just get a pick at the start of the fight, and that turns it into an uncontestable objective.
Yeah, you get caught out as the jungler. Well, that's one of the members of the team you definitely need to have for objective fights. But Cobra just gets Wombo comboed from hell, and we may see we won't see a move to go to this Baron. Probably going to go ahead and establish some vision in this top side jungle of in the red side here, but I guess not. I guess just one control ward here, just behind the Baron pit, is gonna be all we need to worry about for Peacemakers. They go ahead and get their backs in, and we can just go ahead and look at the items here. We're looking at Trinity Force Collector on the Wukong. Now, I won't lie to you, DJ. I should be up on all the new techs, the dark technology and the builds and whatnot, but this collector is new to me for the Wukong. Have you seen this before? Do you see very many Wukongs in your games? Is collector the build? Is that the move?
I have not really seen a lot of collector Wukong, but it can help when you do get the Karma low on HP, the shielding, not really going to help you against an execute that is sort of the shielding counter, but already 2-0-4 on this Wukong and in a very, very solid position, maybe just thinking he can use this as an additional source of damage and split push threat. I don't think he thinks the Karma can answer him, so we'll see how it does work out, but no, Shelly, I have not seen a ton of this item on bruisers like Wukong, that is.
Yeah, this is definitely the mark of some dark technologies going on here. And wow, that this okay, they used the Squire's Bloom to get that last ward, but the control ward was not able to sniff out that stealth ward in the brush there. But as we see, a lot of positioning, a lot of posturing around this Rift Herald, but Eureka is just fine. He has to teleport up. He's just going to split push bot lane and make a move to maybe potentially take this tier 1 bot lane tower. We're going to see an answer maybe from Glow, but I don't trust Glow in a 1v1 versus this monkey.
Yeah, I don't really trust a lot of people in a 1v1 versus this monkey. I think maybe Meals is the only one that can get it done. 214 CS on this Corki. Already has the Immortal Shield Bow and the upgraded Muramana working towards the Essence Reaver. And that is a very powerful build on Corki. So maybe he can answer. But yeah, this is not going to be much longer before the Wukong just starts to absolutely obliterate this Karma, who has gone Chemtech Putrefier for the third item. So that one will be applying Grievous moves across the entire team, likely in there for some of the Diana, maybe some of the Hecarim healing, but really not a ton outside of just the Conqueror, as no one's really built any lifesteal items just yet. Nevertheless, just going for full supportive build here on Karma, whatever she can build that will help the rest of the team. That seems to be the name of the game for Just Phil.
Yeah, I guess someone has to build Grievous. Like, in your solo queue games, there's always going to be someone asking for someone to build Grievous, but this really doesn't get a ton of value. I would have thought maybe just going Zhonya's could be the answer. Hold up.
Oh, bit of a misplay there on, I believe, the initial engage, but it's not going to matter. All of the CC and all of the speed from these two is just going to mean Just Phil is going to die once again. The third of the game, as his team tries to make something happen across the map. There was a turret that did get taken down. I believe it was in this bottom lane, but there it is. Eureka going to take him down. There's that collector. Of course, all along, it was brilliant. It was genius. Like, that was the difference in that fight. And I think Eureka is on to, just like his name says, he's on to something.
And I think the side of Scuttlecock think they're on to something with 3 members in this brush. Nitrogen, are you going to face check? Yes, he will.
He is going to face check. He is going to get dragged back and impaled, and he will fall. And that is some sweet revenge there for the side of Scuttlecock. It happened to Meals. They're going to turn around and give it right back to Nitrogen.
Yep, the Kidnap King is back at it again. Cobra on this Skarner just sets up a brush, and he's 1-1-8. He's been doing pretty good. He's had 100% KP in this game, but if you're the Hecarim, nowhere is safe. If the Scorpion is alive, if he's not on vision, he's right somewhere just around the corner, waiting to just get you, and his friends are waiting just further off around the corner, waiting to gang up on you as well. And with 11 seconds on this dragon and 12 seconds on the revive on the come up for this Hecarim, this is going to be a dragon given over, and a very pivotal one as well, potentially given over. This would have been Soul for the side of Peacemaker.
Yeah, but oh my, they're not taking it fast enough. And oh my goodness, Glow gets blown up. The Collector Dark Technology coming in here for Eureka, but Meals has taken down Banana Bottle. Double kill over to the Corki, still trying to get the damage out. Revolve, though, is making it happen as Meals has fallen. Revolve going to get a double, likely to get a triple, and now it's only Just Phil trying to fill in for his team, but you can't do anything on a supportive Karma from top lane. The fight's going to be won by Peacemakers. They're going to take the Mountain Soul, and they might even be interested in a Baron.
Yeah, so at the beginning of this game, in pick ban, I said that the side of Peacemakers, their comp looked like a little bit of BM, and I'm going to go ahead and say that the Scuttlecock's composition it just looks so troll because after one member goes down, you have no real chance at fighting for this objective. And if you allow the fight to last any longer than a couple of seconds, then you saw Nitrogen able to come from base to the dragon pit and still have a impact on the fight. Now, honestly, did he get in the fight? Not really. He was just hitting the dragon. He wasn't even helping his teammates hit in the fight, hitting the enemies. He was just going after the dragon and the dragon alone. So it was still an undermanned fight for the side of Peacemakers. But with that collector, this is a disgusting, disgusting item for these bruiser champions in the top lane. How dare Wukong build Collector? But he does it, and he's just amazing on it. Serpent's Fang is in on Wukong, and this reduces any shields that an enemy has. So I mean, he has the complete karma counter build there for the monkey. He just has everything with the Merc Treads there as well. Has a Phage as well, probably going for the Sterix gauge. I mean, Eureka is just an unstoppable force on the Rift, and I just have, like you said, there's just no answer for him at all. No one on Scuttlecock can beat him unless they 5v1 him. And if that's the case, then there's going to be adventures being pushed out in other lanes by other players on Peacemakers. This is shaping up to look like perhaps a not so quick 2-0.
Yeah, this one looking very dire. The Baron and the Mountain Soul in hand. And yeah, the full screw you top lane Karma build coming out from Eureka. Now just going to dive onto Cobra fearlessly. Doesn't even have the QSS in the inventory. Only two. One for Nitrogen, one for the Lucian. Has already been upgraded into the Mercurial Scimitar there. So very, very hard. Only really one target in Banana Bottle to be ulted. And now it's really all on Meals to try to get this wave clear done alongside just Phil. But they are really just up against it, down 5k gold against all of these passive buffs. And one more fight could see a full breakout on the game. And it might be right here. Onslaught of Shadow is going to be popped. Just Phil trying to run away. The last of the shield will keep him alive. And a shutdown going to come through for Meals. He's knocked up, though. In comes the Diana ulti, but Meals still alive. Meals is still alive, and they're turning the fight. Meals will not go down. All of the healing, all of the shielding, and they already have 2 kills to their name. Now make it 3. As Revolved have fallen, it's 4. And they have done it here. Scuttlecock keeping themselves alive.
Yeah, Scuttlecock out of nowhere with the 2 for 4, just absolutely turning around that engage, just the shield, the healing. And I mean, if we talked about just Phil building up Grievous Wounds, then we need to talk about the lack of Grievous Wounds on the side of Peacemaker. They don't have any really. You're going against this Corki with Immortal Shield Bow. There's some the Karma there as well. I mean, you really need to do a little bit of something more. That was just a very, very great engage by a great fight by Scuttlecock there, and that was their best shot at extending this game, and they will do so. We're at 33 minutes. We've had 32 kills in that time period, so we're doing about right for that kill a minute pace that we got last game. But with Elder on the map in about 2 minutes, we're probably gonna see another fight before that happens again. And I think that the game is a little bit more even. The game, it's not in goal, but in team fight, I think that a Scuttlecock can win another team fight.
Yeah, Scuttlecock certainly can. After a convincing win in mid lane, they use it to march all the way down that lane and take the mid lane inhibitor. This Elder now coming up in a minute 30, but we might get the fight early. In comes Cobra looking for the ulti, but going in with the Onslaught of Shadows once again. Revolved in trouble, going to pop the QSS, but in goes the Kaisa, and the Lucian is down. It's all up to Meals, but look at the shielding coming through. Meals just cannot die, healing up through all of the damage, and they are making it happen through Meals. Scuttlecock cannot be killed. Another 3-4-1, and they could potentially even try to push into the base. There are supers coming down mid lane. They can try to force them into the base and then fall back to this Elder Drake. It should be free nonetheless. You only have to worry about Nitrogen ulting in. That Onslaught of Shadows still on cooldown. I'm a little surprised he hasn't base. There we go. Finally does go back to base. Oh, Banana. Okay, GA has been popped. Banana will likely lose his life for this. Okay. Good stopwatch. Oh, that's just really good from Banana Bottle. That is just pure value. You expend your Zonia's Hourglass, which won't be that long until it's up again, for a Guardian Angel on the enemy's most fed and dangerous member. That is just a positive trade. Now, 15 seconds till this Elder Drake spawns. I don't know if they're going to get there in time to contest. They may just have to give it up. Keep your eyes on Nitrogen here at the bottom of your screen. Okay, they are moving into the jungle. They don't have a lot of vision, though. And the trap has been set up. Darkfire's going to check. He's going to get caught. He doesn't have QSS. He's already dead. Onslaught of Shadows going into the backline. Keep your eyes on Meals. Still mostly untouched. Wukong is in the backline. Meals is going low. Meals trying to heal up with the... taking Meals down! And they've turned it all around. A double kill for Revolve. And they're TPing into top lane. I don't know if this is enough. The timers are long, but I don't think they're long enough to end the game. Man, oh man, Eureka was clutch in that fight, able to get into the backline, able to get the knockups onto Meals. That allowed all of the anti-shielding, the anti-healing to be applied, and they managed to get the Corki. Pushing down top lane. 25 seconds on Meals. They may just have enough time. It's just Cobra here to try to clear the wave as the first turret is going down. Moving on to the second as Cobra is going low. Trying to be the hero here. Are reserved in Cobra, but they cannot do enough. And despite more heroics from Meals, it's not enough to hold off Peacemakers.
Wow. So right after I say Scuttlecock is able to win a fight, they win a fight. And then right then they did the perfect thing. The play worked numerous times in this game. We saw the setup there by the side of Scuttlecock. They were able to hide in a bush, hide in the same bush actually, and set up a kill brush where it's Cobra going in, getting the impale, or popping the Kim tank, getting the impale, dragging someone off to all of his friends. He only grabs Darkfire, who is one to walk in first. It's a Nautilus, but unlike the Scuttlecock composition, Peacemakers were thinking, okay, we can lose one member of our team and still have an actual chance to win a team fight. And they just go in there. Nitrogen is nigh unkillable. Eureka is hitting for a billion damage. Just look at his items. He had Sterix Gauge. He had the Serpent's Fang, Trinity Force, and that dark technology of the Collector also in his inventory. I mean, he was looking so good. Banana Bottle looked good as well, but Revolved had a much better game this game. On this Lucian was a bully from the very beginning to the end. I think that just it was a better composition, but a composition that was still a little bit strange nonetheless. When you have Just Phil out there doing a ton of really good enchanter work there, a ton of helpful heals, shields with the Moonstone, the staff of flowing water, and the Kimtank Purifier getting rid of some of the heals going on there as well. But mainly just with the Ardent Sensor that came in last was so strong in those fights. But when you're getting blown up, when your backline's getting blown up by Nitrogen on this Hecarim, there's nothing much you can do about it because you're just diving in, and Lucian is extremely strong himself. I mean, this is a very good game out of the side of Peacemakers.
Yeah, it was a good game out of the side of Peacemakers. They had a much more convincing early game, but again, heroics from Meals. He had a lot of setup from his team, of course, the Karma, mostly there to support the two carries, but look at the damage that's been done by Meals. Another 32k in this game. The closest member was 19. That was on the side of Peacemakers. So despite the convincing early game, despite the Soul Drake, and the Baron, they still managed to lose multiple fights under the weight of Meals. But unfortunately, heroics in 2 straight games are not enough, and Meals and Scuttlecock will fall to Peacemakers in a straight 2-game sweep.
Yep, DJ, a very strong 2-game swing there for the side of Peacemakers. And like I mentioned before, if you win on this second composition, the first one made sense, although they had to come from behind in that game. Peacemakers did. The second comp of Hecarim, Nautilus, Lucian, Wukong, and Diana. This was a Wukong that was picked into the Karma. I said if you win into this composition, then you have to be just better, because this comp should not have won. Peacemakers, just based off of team comp, should not have won. Although I have to say, picking the Karma didn't feel all that right with me. And Corki, I think if Corki was actually Tristana, knowing how good, knowing how well this man Mills does play, seeing how he played on the Cinder, I think playing a more aggressive champ like Tristana would have been better for him, even though he was very strong, one of the only really strong members of the side of Peacemakers. I think a champ that's a little bit more aggressive outside of that Corki could have been the difference maker there. A little bit more appeal for his team, self-peel as well. But either way, 2-0 victory for the Peacemakers. Got to give it up to them.
Yeah, you do have to give it up to them, and they do manage to take their first win in the league this season. So they will finish up week number 1 of the Metashift League in the Xenon division with the 2-0 win over Scuttlecock, and that will do it for us here tonight. Want to thank you all for coming out. Hope you did enjoy the stream. Do want to thank, of course, our producer Scotty behind the scenes, and as always, my partner Shelly here for getting us through these two absolutely slamming games between these two sides. Once again, thanks for coming out. Tune in next time as we will have more Metashift League for you in the coming 12 weeks. But until then, hope you're all staying safe and having a wonderful, wonderful night.